Base jumping. Exhilarating, dangerous, illegal, maybe just plain crazy. And it's an experience that can leave you flat. Base jumping. It's a leap of faith. No movies, no magazines, no beverage service, but the flight never leaves without you.
Hot diggity dog! Woo-hoo!
Meet Rich, mild-mannered entrepreneur. From 9 to 5, he's jumping on and off phone calls, overseeing a thriving manufacturing company. But Rich has a secret life. He's able to leap off tall buildings in a single bound. After a rough day at the office, Rich doesn't head for the gym like other mortals. He hightails it to the neighborhood radio antenna for his workout.
You know, I get a hectic day and I'm running around all day and everything's going wrong. I can always run out and do a 3-second free fall and forget everything that ever happened that day, and it's like another world. And come back to work the next day and start all over again.
Base gets its name from buildings, antennas, spans, and earth, the 4 locations base jumpers have to jump from to earn their wings. Cliffs and high bridges are fertile jumping grounds for base out west. But when you live in the flatlands of the Midwest, the best peaks are man-made. Getting to the top of any corporation is always a challenge, and most base jumpers prefer to take the elevator. Here, stealth and cunning count as much as a good parachute in staying one step ahead of the law. It's a high-stakes game where the joy is in the fall.
You're actually sitting on that building, and every sense in your body is alive. The second you look over the edge, then the adrenaline comes back. And then you just want to get up there and jump. And your mind moves at such an incredible rate. Time just slows it. There's no reality to it at all. You know, 1 second takes a minute. And it's just that whole experience that goes through your body. And then once the chute opens, you're back in real time again. Everything's happened at normal speed, and it's indescribable. It's like being in a dream and you're trying to run away from somebody, and no matter how hard you try, you can't run any faster.
Hurry up, ain't got much time.
Base jumpers Mark and Bill had skydived more than 1,000 times before trying something a little more challenging. They agreed to let us come along on one of their jumps.
You're a police officer. Isn't there enough risk in your everyday job without doing this?
I do work in law enforcement, and it can be risky at times. Actually, probably more risky than base jumping in the overall picture.
So you're drawn to the risk?
I'm not going to say that I'm drawn to the risk, because that's too simplistic. It's taking on a challenge and overcoming it. It's difficult to explain to anyone until you've experienced it.
When you're riding in your car, do you use a seatbelt?
Normally.
You have a smoke alarm in your house?
Yes.
You don't like taking unnecessary chances?
That's right. To a degree.
What was that?
I minimize the risks as much as possible. I feel it's safe.
Okay.
It's safe for me.
Well, that went smooth.
Yeehaw!
Good job, guys.
That's El Capitan in California's Yosemite National Park. 3,000 feet straight down, and it draws base jumpers like moths to a flame. Adrenaline junkies have been hurling themselves off El Cap in increasing numbers since 1966, and they continue to do so, despite the gruesome accident in September of '93 that left this rock with the nickname of Decapitan. Tell me what happened last September when Susan Oatley died.
There are several questions as to what caused her fatality, several related to experience, whether or not she was qualified to do what she did. Our feeling is she was definitely not. She's dead. It didn't have to happen. Before reporting the accident, 3 of Oatley's 4 companions took an oath of silence and fled the park. That's because jumping in Yosemite could land you in court with a $5,000 fine. And following her death, Oatley's friends didn't want to risk arrest. They left the area before they reported it, yes. We couldn't obtain identification on the body for quite some time because we had nowhere to go. There's no identification on her. Base jumping was not always illegal. In 1980, even the park rangers enjoyed the show during a 6-week test run. But when attempts to get jumpers to obey park rules and safety guidelines fell flat, and the number of injuries started to mount, rangers banned jumping indefinitely. Base jumpers just loved that thrill-seeker image. Back in 1977, taking the plunge off El Cap earned you 15 minutes of fame.
You are going to meet a very special breed of cat. Men who can't wait to meet danger. They chase it, challenge it, and lick it.
Meet Owen Quinn. He not only licked it, he swallowed his fear and became the first person to jump off a skyscraper and live to tell about it. Naturally, Owen chose the World Trade Center, at the time the world's tallest building, and Owen's place of employment.
Owen, are you nuts?
No, I don't think so. I don't like taking chances, unnecessary chances.
You don't regard this as taking an unnecessary chance?
No, not when you consider the experience I have in parachuting.
Tell me about the jump itself.
It was a matter of time before somebody would jump off this building.
And you wanted it to be you.
Right, I had all the opportunity to do it, and realizing that this building was higher than some planes that I had jumped out of. I said, you could actually jump off of this building. And one fellow went up to the top of the building with me, Mike Sergio. Mike was taking pictures and encouraging me, and I was having second thoughts with me and my big mouth, and I was really starting to get nervous and scared. So naturally, I had a long talk with God and myself, and I said, I made my mind up. I said, I'm going to go now. And I told Mike, I'm going to go. So I stepped back about 20 feet. I took a running start. I jumped, hit the edge of the building with my left foot, and I dove out as far as I could. The moment my foot left the building, I felt so relaxed, I felt so at ease, and I started laughing. I said, this is beautiful. It was like jumping into a glass of pencils.
Since Owen's stunt, base jumping has grown by leaps and bounds. As many as 5,000 people have taken that first big step. And these men who fall to earth are trying to turn a dangerous hobby into a legal sport. A cottage industry of sorts has sprung up, catering to the increased demand for specialized base equipment.
Okay, pilot chute, this is your best friend. If this thing doesn't work, then nothing else is going to work, and you will whistle in.
In base, timing is everything. There's no time for a ripcord, no time for a reserve chute.
We build, manufacture, prototype base equipment, which is for jumping off of buildings or running off the edge of the planet, some of the more unique things we like to do.
Dennis started building stuff just on a little home machine. It was, he was building it for himself, and then people started coming and saying, well, build me one, and build me one. Pretty soon we were, building one for everybody. And I just sat down and started doing it, and as the years have gone by, I've pretty much become the designer.
Crosstown competitor Adam Filipino has hit the silk with more orders for base gear than he can fill. Some from wannabe jumpers who have never even seen the inside of a plane and couldn't steer a parachute to save their lives.
Well, we're trying to keep people from falling through the cracks, the new generation, without any guidance, doing something because they didn't know better. However, as the participation increases, so is the amount of incidents. More people participating, more people are gonna get hurt.
This is a product line where your safety is literally in someone else's hands.
I put disclaimers all over it. I use the D word in large letters in my paperwork. And death,
But reading the warning labels isn't always enough. This was a man named Darren Newton executing a disastrous jump from London's Hilton in 1992. Cause of death? Pilot error. Some 30 people are known to have died base jumping, but no one keeps track of the injuries. With a motto that the whole world is jumpable, almost nothing stops a determined jumper from the quest for a bigger, better, and unconquered building. This is the holy grail of base jumping, the 110-story Sears Tower in Chicago, the tallest building in the world. No one's ever jumped the Sears Tower, and the building's owners won't even discuss the security procedures that have so far kept it base-free. Generally in base jumping, the rule is the bigger the building, the tougher the security. And the tougher the challenge, the bigger the thrill. Just a short pan across the skyline is Chicago's K2, the Amoco building, third highest in the world if you don't count the Empire State Building's cone, which base jumpers don't because you can't jump off it. It's a high-profile jump requiring months of precision planning to get in, get off, and get away.
We come in, we land at the base here. All he has to do, as soon as he sees canopies coming in on final, he just pulls up. I'll take you to the staircase up here.
Sometimes it's breaking those little laws that can ruin the perfect getaway.
Let's just check that sign isn't a no U-turn sign.
No, it isn't. It says U-turns permitted.
Okay, good.
This is the moment of truth.
You got about the 1-minute warning here.
Knowing there's nothing between you and your death except 10 seconds of free fall and the chute on your back.
2, 1, see ya.
This is called ground rush, where your stomach tries to catch up with you before the pavement does. To jumpers, this is what it's all about.
3, 2, 1, see ya!
This jumper is twisted, really twisted. But in this case, a potentially serious problem is corrected with a quick reaction and maybe a little luck thrown in. But for Rich, the swan dive off the Amoco building is a jump that ends not with a whimper, but with a bang. Ow. They can't compete with Bonnie and Clyde when it comes to the getaway.
Yahoo, baby!
But in the end, the only thing these outlaws have stolen is a little altitude and a lot of attitude.
2, 1, see ya!
Next to jumping, their favorite pastime is watching their own greatest hits on video.
Coming in perfect, look at that.
Nice glitch.
So, what's next?
We can't tell you.
We could tell you, but then we'd have to kill you.
The question is whether you're going to kill yourselves, I guess. I mean, you're laughing now, but
take it safe.
but the fact is, even when you do take it safe, you still run that risk, don't you? And instead of pursuing this sport, maybe you guys ought to just go see a therapist and adjust to a world that doesn't move quite that fast.
I think the world is what you make of it, and if you want to include that in your world, I want to be, if I'm ever on my deathbed, I just want to look back and say that I didn't turn anything down that I wanted to do. I did everything in life that I wanted to do. And that, to me, is the meaning of life. I don't want to be up there and say, well, yeah, that would be fun, but I'm scared, so I don't want to.
How long are you going to live?
Forever.